I'm gonna do a quick review, my initial thoughts of what I think about the new Der Anfang mode and the zombies mode altogether. And just before I go any further, I just want to kind of preface it by saying I'm gonna kind of like quick review what other people are saying about it, or a quick recap of stuff that I've heard and the explanation behind it. And it's something that I've mentioned before, actually more recently in my Cold War recap video, that you're always going to have the same group of like maybe three, four, or five zombie YouTubers that were originally there from probably maybe like Black Ops and forward, maybe Black Ops 2. So they've been covering games for the last couple years, and I always relate it to, well, because I'm a lot older than them and a lot older than maybe even some of the devs. It's always going to be the same thing that goes on in the NBA, baseball, and NFL. That people are always going to think their generation of sports is the best. Maybe with the exception of the NBA in the 90s. But then again, the people in the 70s and 80s are going to think their generation in the 60s that basketball was the best for them. So it's kind of the same thing that's happening now. It's kind of like happening inside video games and Call of Duty and Zombies in particular, that these same five group of zombie YouTubers that I mentioned, the big channels that have like over a million, 2 million, maybe even 3 million or more subscribers, they're always going to think their generation of Cold War or Black Ops zombies is the best, and that's the unfortunate truth. Is it's the same thing that goes on in sports. They have like roundtable discussions. Everybody, you can get people that are in their 80s and they think their basketball era was the best. You can get people in their 40s, they think their basketball era was the best. The only exception maybe might be like the NFL, where it's changed and it may maybe have watered down football, but that's only because of safety reasons. NFL and football is never going to be as good as it was probably back then, because there were actually like no rules. You just kind of hit the person as hard as you can because of brain damage and stuff like that. They had to change a lot of rules in the NFL. So that might be another situation where I can understand if people say that like football in the 90s were the best compared to now, or the 80s or 70s, whatever. Because for safety reasons, there's so many rules that changed in the NFL, where they spot the ball, kickoffs, and stuff like that, punt returns, hits, blocks, all that stuff, even the equipment. Um, because they really just had like soft leather helmets back in the olden days. But that's kind of what's going on again in the zombies mode. Is people are saying, if they started Black Ops 1, they're going to say Black Ops 1, Kino, Moon were the best zombies. If you start in Black Ops 2, you're going to say that Transit was the best. Buried, Mob of the Dead were the best. People that start in Cold War are going to say Cold War is their favorite zombies mode, which that's where it kind of breaks down the theory and stuff like that, that if you look at the numbers, and I think Treyarch and Call of Duty said it, Cold War is probably the most successful zombies mode that we've had ever. Even though you think Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, maybe World at War, maybe Black Ops 3, there's a lot of people who swear by Black Ops 3, and even on Twitter there's people who do polls. It all depends on your age group, to be honest with you, or your experience with with Black Ops Zombies. Is that depending when you start, it's always going to be your first and your favorite. Even people say the same thing with multiplayer and campaign. I started Modern Warfare 3. That's my favorite out of the Modern Warfare series. People say 1 is the best, 2 is the best. So that's kind of what's going on in 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 Vanguard Zombies. Sorry, I was reading the stuff on the screen. So right now, it's pretty good. And there's a lot to do. I kind of, like I said, it's gonna be like an honest review. It feels almost like a tutorial to get people familiar with maybe the and this might just be, and that's the thing too that people don't understand. This might just be like another transit situation where it's just one mode. I think Daron Fang might be like a mode in itself. Um, so people are kind of upset that there's maybe not much to do. But if people say Black Ops 2 in Transit was their favorite, this is where it doesn't make sense, and it's where it proves my point that it's just a group of people from a certain generation that think that their zombies is the best. But if you look at what happened with Transit, okay, let's say Transit was half done, not even half done, less than half finished, and it's everyone's favorite map. People want it back. People want Zombie Chronicles 2. They want the Victus um, stuff come back. Well, let's fast forward a couple years from now. Even though it looks like Vanguard Zombies is half finished or incomplete, that's the same thing that happened in Transit, and people are saying Black Ops 2 is the best ever. You know, they're crying for a Black Ops 2 remaster. It's like it doesn't make any sense how it's just people that are complaining, thinking that their zombies is the best, but and that's just the opening statement to this whole thing. But I haven't even like touched into zombies itself. But the stuff I'm going to talk about, what I like, and why I'm telling you the stuff that I just did is, um, aside from being one of the old school people that think your zombie is going to be the best, I'm just going to look at the mode altogether. I like that it's dark. It has a better atmosphere. Everybody wanted like including myself, wanted like a Verrückt style, dark, creepy zombies. Um, and it starts out easy. You can rank up your weapons. You you kind of move along, and it does get it's close quarters. So I'm not gonna lie and exaggerate, but I'm gonna be honest that it's close quarters zombies, where it's tight areas, and there's maybe like three different modes and stuff like that that you jump into. There's the hub or the headquarters that we're in right now, or the hub, and then you can buy your perks, level up your perks. You can hit the mystery box. You can buy some armor. You can hit the table. All this stuff you probably already know. Um, but the thing is too, it's not meant to be. It's a good middle ground because it's an easy going. When you get to maybe round 12 or level 12, you can exfil if you want, and that's the good thing too, is that you can exfil at any time that you want. You don't have to necessarily wait like 5 rounds or whatever it was before to exfil. You can exfil anytime you want, or in an outbreak, you would have to complete all the objectives before you can um, exfil out of the map. So it has a good mixture of everything, where you're not kind of just stuck doing one style. You can keep going if you want. You can exfil, you can loot, you can kill zombies. It has that dark atmosphere. The only thing I noticed, which I don't know, maybe they need to change the RNG, is that um, I played for maybe like 12 rounds yesterday, and I don't think I got Shinonuma one time. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong or what I did wrong. Um, or maybe if there's a sequence of hitting the portals in a certain order to get Shinonuma, but I definitely 100% didn't get Shinonuma. That was something I was really looking forward to. And that's the thing too, like you're expect to spend like maybe a good hour or 2 hours, um, and this is actually footage from Twitch that I think it was like 2.5 hours I played, and I didn't get Shinonuma one time. So I think there should be an RNG where maybe Shinonuma should be, or maybe that's something they should have thought about. Is like you definitely get Shinonuma as one of your first maps, because that's what people are hopping onto, is to see Shinonuma, see the old maps and stuff like that. So that's something that definitely I think should change. Like I said, it's an honest review. I'm not trying to be biased. Because of my close relationship to the zombies mode. I'll put it that way. But oh, the story too. The story is pretty amazing, and I have to tell people and remind people that if you're listening to the radios, everything is based off of movies ever since maybe Black Ops, maybe even maybe even World at War. I'll put it that way, just to play it safe. But everything is pretty much based off of movies. So if you listen to the quotes and the narrative and the radios and what's going on in the story, you can probably, by process of elimination, if you watch a lot of movies, figure out what movie everything is based on right now, which I think is cool. And that's the unfortunate truth too, is people, especially those big channels that I mentioned, they don't ever do their research. They just kind of like hop on, make a video. Like I mentioned before, now they're doing like 8 minute and 1 second videos just to get it up on YouTube. They don't do any research. They don't look into anything. Um, I told several of them to go back and look at the old maps. You guys missed a lot of stuff. But of course they're not going to, just because it's human nature. So it's no hate towards them. It's just that I understand that it's human nature. People don't listen. People are going to do what they want to do anyways, including myself. So I'm not trying to make it sound like I wouldn't do that. But when you tell people, hey, you missed a bunch of stuff, you missed actually like 80% of the story, you all most of them know is just what Treyarch tells them in the Cronorium and what Blundell has told them. They can't really go ahead and think any further and look deeply into the stuff. So if you're interested, you want to get ahead, you listen to the radios that are all over the map. You can probably think of like what movie it comes from, and then you can probably jump ahead and find out what's coming. And I learned my lesson not to do that, so I'm just telling you what to do, but I'm not going to give you the answers. If you listen to the radios, you can probably figure out what movie it is and what's coming down the road, which is pretty cool. Or you could just watch the movie, and it's kind of like seeing zombies, but on a grander scale if you figure out what movie it's from or the movies of the previous games. Again, just kind of recapping everything. Aside from that, yeah, it's kind of like a basic tutorial mode, I think, right now, and you just got to grind it. It gets hard. It gets really hard really quickly. So you just got to level up your weapons, unlock attachments and stuff like that. But I love that they gave us an atmosphere almost we've never had before. So that's one thing that I really, really like. Is it's dark, it's scary, it's close quarters. It's in that World War II era, so it feels different, something we're not familiar with. I think maybe the last World War II was Gorod Krovi, ironically enough, if I can remember without goofing. But I guess Time Machine dealt with World War II anyways, so. Again, you can see you're just kind of doing missions. It's kind of like transit. And I mean, that's something I'll tell them or remind them on Twitter. It's like people are complaining. I'm not saying it's incomplete, but people say transit's their favorite. But this is kind of almost reminiscent of transit, where you really didn't have to do much on the map. You rode the bus around. You did a couple. You can either decide where you want to stay. If you want to stay. Sorry, I'm like having the hiccups. If you want to stay at a certain point, or move on the bus, or just stay at the diner, stay at the bus station, or even go to Knock Der Anfang. Maybe that was something that they probably should have done also, is put Knock Der Anfang again in here, maybe to kind of give zombie YouTubers a bigger clue that, hey, maybe this is supposed to kind of sort of mimic transit. Maybe this is kind of one of the modes that we're gonna have in Black Ops 2 or something like that. That, hey, people always ask for those modes that were in Black Ops 2. Maybe this is the type of stuff they were supposed to have in Black Ops 2. But again, people just want to complain and say that their era of zombies was the best. I think I end up going down. This is where it gets really tight. And I don't know, do the zombies keep spawning, or you can actually kill them? But man, it gets pretty intense. And I do eventually end up going down. You can't even get into the room, but that's good. That's stuff that you're looking for. And it reminds me of well, it's my stupid fault that I went back and got greedy and tried to kill them. I probably should have just left. Wait, do I end up going down? Yeah, this is the part I think I end up going down. They probably stopped spawning, and I probably should have Or it's a good mixture too. You gotta figure out like what you want to buy. You want to keep buying more jug to get more health. You want to get more firepower. Um, and it's fine tuned very nicely where every single perk is very crucial. Like you really have to decide. Every single perk leveled up is going to be crucial because you really need speed cola. You really need, I guess that's double tap or strawberry deadshot daiquiri, um, or and then you also need jug. So it's tough because um, you're gonna have to spend your money wisely. It's not before where you have a bunch of cash you can just spend it on pack a punching and stuff like that and perks. But now you gotta really decide where you want to spend or your cash because everything is really, really, really important. Anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. I mean, it's about 16 minutes. I know most of it is not necessarily spent on reviewing the game so much, because it's kind of meant to just go in there, rank up, do a couple objectives. It looks really nice. And don't listen to everything that you hear on YouTube because everybody has their own agenda, and that's something that ironically you learn in movies is everybody has their own agenda, the reason they do stuff. They want to make themselves sound the best. They want to make their zombies mode sound the best. That Black Ops 2 or Jason Blundell had the best zombies in Black Ops 3. So people are always gonna want it's like politics. You kind of want people to vote for your guy as the best zombies mode or zombies director of all time. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later.